Yes, everything. It's all the minutes players played in the last games, and we have to, because we are in a good situation that the players are fit, but we want them to stay fit, and therefore, of course, we are always monitoring their minutes. And I mention it quite often. For me, it's having a 3-week game is not real a big problem, but now it's the second 3-week game, and of course, in very intense games, and then we have to look what's best and which players are in the best shape. But it doesn't mean that we make 10 changes tomorrow, but maybe 2 or 3. And it's not because we value the Saturday game more than tomorrow's game, but it's just as I mentioned, we need to be top fit, physically top fit, mentally top fit to be competitive against Arsenal.
And how is the squad looking from a physical and mental perspective? Because there's been games recently you've gone down to 10 men, gone down to 9 men, there's been a lot of travelling, there's been the midweek games, so how is everybody feeling?
Yeah, to be honest, it's since I think before the international break with the postponed Newcastle game, it's a little bit it's not so fluid, it's 3 weeks no game, then 5 games within 2 weeks, and also players then being suspended, like then Will Hughes had a 2-game suspension, Mark a red card, and then some players being sick, not really injuries, but being sick and not in the rhythm. So it's a little bit. The last weeks didn't feel like the weeks before, where we had always could train together, could play together, but we have to deal with this situation, and I think the players dealt really well with all the circumstances against Bournemouth, and so we're looking forward now to our Champions League week. Playing the Champions League semi-finalists and the quarter-finalists within 3 days. So it's our Champions League week.
And if you win tomorrow, Liverpool will win the Premier League. You mentioned the Champions League semi-finalists in Arsenal. They may have priorities elsewhere with their game against PSG next week. So what sort of match are you expecting tomorrow?
No, I expect both teams entering the pitch to win the game. So for Arsenal, I think it's because they don't play at the weekend, so I think they want to stay in the rhythm. We expect them playing with their strongest team. They have 6 days time for the Champions League semi-final, and they play at home. And I think I think this is what all the fans deserve, that they see the best teams, and we will play with the best available team tomorrow as well.
And finally, for me, Eddie Nketiah may come against his old team again in the form of Arsenal. How do you feel like things have gone for him so far since he joined you last summer?
Yes, I think it's not time to sum up the Eddie's season now, but maybe a few words. He's so hardworking, and sometimes I feel a little bit sad for him personally when I see all his effort. For example, at Newcastle, he comes on when you're 5-0 down. It's the worst situation you can have as a player. So I had this once in my career, and I didn't really like it. So, and all the effort, and he had 2-3 chances, and then at the end he could score. Then he slipped. Then we could score. He makes the clearance on the goal line for Newcastle. So it looks like that sometimes things don't go well for him. But I spoke to him afterwards, and this is in one way, because I see him every day working in training. And there will come the day when he gets paid for all his effort. And for me personally, it feels he didn't get the day didn't come this year until now. But we have great games. We have still great games to play, and maybe these games and this day where he gets the payback for all his effort will come soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Soraya.
Good afternoon. As mentioned already, you've played a few matches with having a man down or 2 men down, and you've spoken about how the team has still stuck to your style of play. The attackers still run back to defend. Everyone's still committed to what you wanted to achieve on the pitch. On the positive side of that, how has that helped with mentality and resilience to know, even with a few lads down on the pitch, you can still get a result?
Yes, I think this helps us, but on the other side, it's not that we should do it too often, because it's such a hard work, and of course, then you have to defend much more than you can attack. But what gives us confidence, even when we are one man down, where for 50 minutes here we created dangerous situations and look quite consistent in our defense, and this will be very important tomorrow. Yeah? Arsenal is in great shape, beating twice Real Madrid and playing at home, and therefore we need to be very strong in defending, very committed in defending. We need to work very hard, and on the other side, we need to create situations in offense. We need to get the game into their half. We need to get finishes. We need to get set plays, and so of course the last games can help us, but I would suggest not conceding a red card again.
And against Bournemouth, you commended the team on their spirit. You said entering the game, everyone could see and feel it. There was a little lack of confidence after the run of games previously. How do you actually pick up that confidence, though? You said there's been a lack of fluidity, it's been a bit rough, but you're about to go against, as you said, a great in-form Arsenal. So how do you install that belief?
It's again, we don't have an ejection for belief. We don't have. I couldn't find any button on their back where I can press, that I can press that the belief is back. It's all about how you perform, how you deal with each other, how the players support each other, how what we're doing at the pitch, and of course then you need success, because if somebody tells you are good, but if you always fail, then there will be the moment you don't believe, and so therefore we could see it again, and always, and I mentioned this very often. We didn't have especially two great results in the last 3 games, but when we look back, and for me it's not just always having a look on, it's the same when we won 2 games, I said, okay, 2 games, it's not so difficult, but when you watch 10, 15, 20 games, then it's more a trend, and I think within the last, I don't know exactly, but 10, 15 games, I think we're still in the top third of the Premier League, and this should give us confidence, and again, we are in such a great moment, we still can play regarding the points, the best season in Crystal Palace history. We have a huge game in 3 days at Wembley, so I personally feel great in this situation, but also, to be honest, of course, I was disappointed after the 2 defeats, like all the others, but I could turn quite quickly.
And lastly from me, when you face a team like Arsenal that have a clear style of play, you're not going to really be shocked by how they line up. Are you the type of manager that prefers to focus on your strengths and how to exploit and stick true to your style, or do you think it's about breaking them down tactically and adapting to that?
Yeah, it's always, it's of course, so we want to, how it fits together, so we can't play a completely different style, and so we always have to rely on our strengths, what we already showed, and we showed it we lost both games this year against them, and so, but I think that doesn't mean that we will lose the third. The same is 3 days later. We had 2 wins and 1 draw against Aston Villa. That doesn't mean that we win it on Thursday, because it's always about how a game is going. So I think every team now at the end of the season knows how the other team is playing, knows the strengths, knows maybe their weaknesses, and then it's also how is the shape of the players, which players are available, is everyone fit and is in his best personal shape, and then it's possible to beat Arsenal, but again, we need to perform really on our top level, and show our style in defending, in transition, in set plays on our top level. Then it's possible, and if not, then it's not possible.